Hey there! Sleep on it. Should you sleep on it to supersize and grow your business? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, taking a little nappy on my pillow this morning and wondering about the idiom sleep on it. People for centuries, thousands of years actually, have wondered and looked for ways to get more time to consider issues or to consider decisions that they had to make, to buy themselves some time in order to put off making a decision immediately. And as far back as the 1500s, somebody came up with the idea that they should call this putting off and postponing decision making to at least overnight, to sleep on it. Hey, I'm just going to sleep on that and then I'll let you know tomorrow. I could just hear, knights and people having these conversations. Let me sleep on that if I want to go into that battle or not. I don't know. But we as humans want to actually give some decisions in our life the consideration that they're due, right? The thought and the time and the plus and minus evaluation of whether we should or should not do something. In this, ever-changing high-pressure world, it becomes harder and harder to take the time that we need to give different decisions and different choices their due and the consideration that they need and that we need to make a good decision. There's so much pressure, especially nowadays with how fast the world's moving. Online, I've been moving from the offline world to the online world. And online, it's all about sense of urgency, get people to make decisions, make sure that there's enough scarcity in your offers, which is super duper frustrating to me because I think that we want to make our offers, we want to give a sense of urgency for the people that our offer is right for. And that's why I think that we have a moral obligation to put our offers in front of the right people, not just offer things that people don't need and then pressure them with high pressure sales tactics to make a decision right now. Let them sleep on it. Let them decide, is this really right for me or not? Especially when dealing with our businesses and our organizations. I have learned that you can get people to do things and to commit to and do business with you, but if it's not right for them, and especially if it's not right for you, you will end up miserable. So sleep on it. Sleep on whether you want to hire that person or not. Sleep on or make them a job offer. Sleep on whether you want to have someone as an affiliate of your products and services or to be a partner or even a vendor. I've slept on whether I want to buy things from a vendor or not, or whether I want to get in business with someone or not. I've had partnerships where I should have slept on it and not been pressured by someone else to do a deal, be in a partnership with somebody who it turns out was a horrible partner for me personally and caused lots of drama and trauma that I could definitely have lived much more happily without. Sleeping on decisions, putting off and giving due consideration and thought to our decisions and big decisions especially. Should I take this job? Should I move? Should I buy this house? Should I get a new car? Should I do whatever? Should I go to this school? Should I get an advanced degree? Should I get a certification in this course? Some of those decisions deserve an overnight thought. Now, one of the things I learned as a child, and I don't even remember or know how I figured it out, maybe my parents taught me, but if I was having a difficult situation or a challenge or a problem that I was facing, if I would ask myself about that problem before I went to sleep, I would often wake up with a solution to that problem, or at least a better solution than I was having when I was mired in the problem and all I could think about was the problem. I actually have used that strategy to solve really big problems, big engineering problems, which people are like, well, how can you solve engineering problems by sleeping on it? But what happens is we think about all of the different things and we're thinking on a conscious level. But when we go to sleep, our subconscious kind of takes over and mulls together all of the information that we've collected and can see and figure out other solutions that our conscious might not be aware of. So I love to sleep on problems or sleep on situations. There are a lot of communication and relationship issues that I probably would have been better off had I selected to sleep on them before opening my mouth, but I didn't always do that. I try to be better about that, but you could probably ask people close to me, maybe I should sleep on some of the things I say more often, even to this day. But sleeping on problems, again, if it doesn't give you the solution to the problem the next day or a couple of days, it at least gives you a better, more open-minded perspective and way of looking at the situation and the problems. I solved a really big engineering problem when I had a summer job for 3M in high school in college, between college semesters and actually summer jobs. I worked at a pilot plant for 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, and we had a machine there that everybody hated to run. And so being the low person on the totem pole, I of course was assigned that machine to run. And it was boring. I mean, beyond boring and terrible and painstaking. It was actually called a staker, and I thought it was an appropriate name because it was painstaking to work on this machine. And after a couple of days of that, I was thinking, how am I going to survive this entire summer working on this machine? And so I thought about it as I went to sleep. I'm like, how can I make working on this machine a pleasant and fun experience if I've got to do it all summer? And the next morning, I woke up with an idea. So I went into the job and I started playing with the idea I had. And really, it was just reorganizing the process of how I set up and ran this machine. And it turned out that it worked so well, I could actually read and do other things while I was running this machine, and I could produce in one day what it used to take an entire week to do. And it ended up being a really big win-win, not only for me, but also for the company, because now they only had to have one person a week on that machine going forward instead of, paying somebody for an entire week, 7 days a week to run this very, very boring machine. And I turned it and figured out a way to run it that was actually fun, and people looked forward to it, to running it. So I didn't have to run it all summer. I would run it one day a week, and then after the summer, people actually were, I was told, fighting over who got to run it, because it was a relaxing, fun job compared to some of the other jobs that were in the facility at the time. So you can actually dream up, believe it or not, engineering problems. And that's not the only engineering solution I dreamt up in my career. I dreamt up a couple of big solutions for Procter & Gamble when I worked there, which is amazing. We had some problems actually in toilet paper making, and we didn't know how to solve them. And like all the other engineers, we had like a 200-person engineering department there, and I was just a little industrial engineer. And I came up with the solution that we ended up using on a couple of occasions there, because I asked myself about the problem when I went to sleep, and it was impacting my team and my production lines. So I wanted to come up with a solution, and I did. So it just goes to show you, you can actually dream up solutions to big and small problems if you're willing to, put your subconscious to work while you're sleeping and ask yourself a question before you go to bed. I know that's probably not a very businessy thinking strategy, but I'm gonna tell you, try it, because it totally works. So wondering what are some of the things that you have slept on and you were super grateful that you slept on them, decisions that you took the time to consider. Now, I'm not suggesting that you sleep on every decision, because it depends what the decision is. If there's a decision, where to eat lunch, just go eat lunch, because it doesn't matter, because you're going to eat lunch every day for the rest of your life, right? So that's not the kind of decision you need to sleep on. So don't use sleeping on it as a way to procrastinate and not make a decision. Use it as a way to make better, more informed decisions. That's it. That's all I've got today. Go out, make it an awesome day. If there's an idiom you'd like to know the origin of, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, share some situations that you've slept on it and you're super glad you did in the comments below. And I will, of course, see you tomorrow.